Hey, it's Seth, and today we're going to talk about layering for winter hiking. If you saw my most recent videos, I was up in the Whites dealing with all kinds of different conditions. Breaking trail through deep snow, dealing with snowstorms and heavy wind, frigid temps, and you really need a variety of layers to deal with all the conditions you face when you're winter hiking. You're going to be taking some layers off and putting some other layers on. So in this video, I'm just going to go through my setup and what works for me. All right, we'll start with the most base of the base, and that is my underwear. It's just kind of your standard synthetic sports underwear, so it wicks away moisture, and I found that they work well for me for hiking. So on top of that, go my pants, and that is my REI Activators. You've heard me speak about these before. I think they're great pants. They have a little bit of stretch to them. They have a little bit of insulation. They keep me warm down to single digits if I'm working. They are quite nice, lots of pockets, so I'm a big fan of these pants. They are water resistant, they are wind resistant, and they work very well for me in the winter. So you'll pretty much always see me wearing these for winter hikes. Now in terms of how I can supplement that, I also have these Merino wool base layer leggings. What is my cat doing? Get out of here, guy. No, you can't be up here. You can't be up here. So I could put these underneath, I could wear these underneath the pants. That's generally too warm for me if I'm doing any kind of strenuous uphill hiking. I will definitely overheat if I have both of these on. But if I am hanging around camp, say, at the end of a day, I would definitely want to throw these on under the pants, and that would give me a nice base layer of warmth. And then I have these LL Bean Storm pants. I picked these up at a crazy fire sale they were having probably like 12, 13 years ago. I bought them for 10 bucks, ridiculous. But they're waterproof, they work very well, and so oftentimes I would wear these over the REI Activators if I wanted true water protection. So on the second day of my recent trip, I decided to wear the Activators and these just because it was going to be snowing all day, and I knew I'd probably be butt sliding down at some point the steep terrain, so I figured it made sense to put on the storm pants on top of the REI Activators. The only problem with these is that they don't have any pockets, so that makes it a little tricky to use, but what are you gonna do? And then I also want to mention gaiters. So I have these gaiters. I'll generally wear these in the winter because they do a great job of keeping the snow out of my boots. Gaiters are also a layer of sorts. So basically a half layer for your lower legs. So that's something to consider. You know, you're going to be covering half your legs with an extra layer for the duration of the hike. So just to keep that in mind as well. My boots are the Merino Polar 8s. I've had them now for quite a few seasons. They have 400 grams of insulation. Now I'm wearing just regular hiking socks, not some super warm type of sock. These are regular hiking socks that I would wear year round. These boots have worked well for me down to single digit backpacking, so I've been very happy with them, and they've kept my feet warm more often than not. All right, so that was my pants. So what do I wear on top? Well, you've seen this. It's my tried and true REI Merino wool base layer. This is something I wear on most hikes. I'll just start the hike in this, and I find if I'm working, a lot of times all I need is this Merino wool base layer, even down to, I think, single digits. The recent climb up Wildcat A, it was only in the teens, but I was fine in this because I was just working so hard. So sometimes all I need is this Merino wool base layer. And then over that will often go my puffy jacket. So this is from Cotopaxi, and I got this on, I think, clearance in REI because I had a rip on it. But yeah, very warm, it's down. So this thing definitely keeps me warm. So a lot of times I'll just start in this. Now, one issue with this puffy is that it is down, and so if it does wet out, it loses its insulating power. So it's important that I don't get this wet. So that limits when I can use it. It also means I have to use my Outdoor Research 4A, my rain jacket shell. You've seen this in a lot of my videos. I use it all the time. I use it year round. It provides great weather protection. A lot of times in winter hiking, my basic setup is just starting with the Merino wool base layer, and then the puffy, and then the shell. I'll hike in the base layer and the shell a lot because a lot of times I'm working hard and I just need some kind of weather protection. I don't really need any insulation. Something I rarely use is a mid layer, though I did actually use it on the recent trip where I was cold at the start. I knew the puffy would just be too much, so I did the base layer, and then I wore this just a light mid layer, and then my shell, and I just wore that for a while. And then once I got hot enough, this came off. But that was another option, but I generally don't need a mid layer like that. I can generally just oscillate between using the puffy and not, but on this particular day, I did need it. All right, out of here, please. And then just rounding out the gear, you know, I got a little beanie. I'll wear this beanie much of the time. I don't really need a hat that's warmer than that because my puffy has a hood and then the rain jacket has a hood, so I can double hood that up if I need to. And then some liner gloves. I'll usually bring several pairs on a hike because they sometimes will get wet. So I'll use the liner gloves along with my Mainer mittens. These things are beefy, I love them. Waterproof, they are great. Not cheap, but they're worth it to me. They kept my hands very warm on my recent trip. Even when the inside got a little wet, they were still warming my hands up when I slipped them in there. So I consider these a great investment. But that's basically what I use, liner gloves and then a pair of mittens. So there you go, that's my layering setup for winter hiking. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully you found this interesting. Let me know what you use for layer hiking. I'd love to know what you do differently. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.